Today we will be discussing order of operations with integers. So the first thing that we're going to be reviewing is combining integers, which is your adding and subtracting. So if the signs are the same, you're just going to simply add them together and then you keep the sign. So if we look at the example, we have -7 minus 5. They're both negative numbers because that 5 is technically negative, even though it looks like a subtraction sign. So -7 minus 5 would be -12 because they're both negative. The next example, I have 4 plus 3. They're both positives, so I'm just going to do 4 plus 3 equals 7. If the signs are different, you're going to find the difference or subtract the number. So if we look at, and then you'll keep the sign of the larger number. So if we look at the example -7 plus 2, well, they're different signs. So 7 minus 2 is 5, and then there's more negatives, so my answer is negative. So let's do the first column together, and then I'm going to have you do the second column by yourself. So if we look at number 1, number 1 is one of the scariest ones on this whole page because it has that double negative there. So remember that a positive minus a negative with that double negative, it's really a plus. So 8 plus 2 is what that turns into. And 8 plus 2 is 10. And then for number 3, we have a positive 10 and a -2. So 10 plus -2, they have different signs. Find the difference. So it's 8 minus 2, or 10 minus 2 is 8, and 10 is greater, so it's positive. Now let's scroll down a little bit. Let's look at our rules for multiplying and dividing before we hit the multiplying and dividing stuff. So you can use the Tic-Tac-Toe method. And remember, diagonal is the positives, everything else is negative. Or this is another method that I learned after we did our integers unit. You can draw a triangle. Positive goes at the top, negatives all around. And then if we do the example, let's say we do the example -2 times 3. I can figure out what the sign is for the answer because I can say a negative times a positive is a negative left over. So I know this is going to be a negative answer, and it's actually -6. So you can use this method. If you don't like the tic-tac-toe, maybe try the triangle instead. So if we look at number 5, I have -6 times a -4. So if I look at the triangle, positive, negative, negative, negative times a negative is a positive, so this is going to be a positive, and 4 times 6 is positive 24. Number 7, a negative divided by a positive, so a negative divided by a positive is a negative, so I get -5. So you can use the tic-tac-toe chart or you can use the triangle, both are fine. What I want you to do is I want you to pause and I want you to do 2, 4, 6, and 8. So for number 2, you get -6. They're the same sign, simply add. Number 4, you get -10. Again, same sign, simply add, keep the sign. Number 6, you get -21. And then number 8, you get +8. So now let's look down at the bottom at these order of operations problems. So I still want you to write GEMDOS off to the side. We're still following the exact same steps. We're just following the steps now with integers in them. So if we look at this problem, do we have any groupings? Yes, we do. We have this grouping symbol right there. And it gets a little crazy because we get some extra parentheses in there. So just make sure you're looking, if it's a single number in parentheses, it's like a fake out. So we have 6 plus -3. Well, they have different signs, so I have to find the difference. 6 minus 3 is 3, and 6 is greater, so it's going to be positive. I like to keep the parentheses until I've used the number all up. Okay, I do not have any more groupings because that 3 in parentheses is like a fake out. I do have an exponent, 2 to the 2nd power. I could write that out as a side salad, like 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Write everything else down and around. I am done with exponents. Do I have any multiplication or division? I do. I have to do the multiplication first. 3 times 4 is 12. A negative times a positive, and if you need to, draw the triangle, A negative times a positive is a negative, so it's a negative 12 divided by 3. And then a negative 12 divided by 3 would be a negative 4. Make sure you always circle your answer. Number 10, GEMDAS. Do you have any groupings? Yes. 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 to the second plus 22. Done with groupings. Do I have any exponents? Yes. The side salad would be 5 times 5, which is 25 plus 22. Done with exponents. No multiplication, no division. Adding and subtracting is next, and you'll get 47. So that one was pretty simple. Number 11, groupings, groupings, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. Now this one has a lot of parentheses going on it. I have a grouping, which is here, but inside that grouping I have to decide, am I going to do the subtraction first, or am I going to do that exponent first? I need to do the exponent first because exponents come before subtraction. So the little side salad for that one would be 2 times 2 times 2. So that would be 8. 8 minus negative 7 parenthesis times negative 4 plus 2 to the 0 power. I ran out of space a little bit. I'm still not done with grouping. I need to do the subtraction here. Remember, when you have that double sign, minus negative, this is really a plus. So that's really 8 plus 7, which is 15, times negative 4 plus 2 to the 0. I'm done with groupings because I just have fake out groupings. I have an exponent, which is 2 to the 0. Anything to the 0 power is 1. I'm done with exponents. I have multiplication, division right here. 15 times negative 4. 15 times negative 4 would be negative 60 plus 1, and I get negative 59. Okay, so it's not much different than what we've been doing the other few days, but you have to make sure you take the time and you look at what are your exponent rules. So let's flip over, let's look at the next page. This is just like we did the other day. You're just going to circle the first step. So remember, you have grouping, exponent, multiply, divide, add, subtract. The multiply, divide, it depends which one's first in line. Same thing with add, subtract, which one is first in line. So if we look at number 12, I have a grouping that I need to solve. I need to solve 15 minus negative 5 first. Number 13, I don't have any groupings. I don't have any exponents. I have multiplication, division, and division comes first. So I'm going to solve the division first. Pause here. I want to do 14, 15, 16, and 17. So for 14, I have to do this grouping first. 15, I have to do the exponent. 16, I don't have any exponents. I do not have any groupings. I don't have any exponents. I have multiply, divide. Division comes first in line. And then number 17, I don't have any groupings, but I have an exponent. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to pause. I want you to do 18 and 19. And when you're ready, unpause. I'll check your answers with you, and then you can do 20 and 21. So you'll start with your grouping, exponent, multiply, divide, add, subtract. No groupings, no exponents. Multiplication, division. Division is first. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Copy down the problem exactly as it goes. Multiplication comes next. Negative 14. Positive times a negative is a negative. Negative 8 plus. And then those are same signs, simply add them and keep the sign of the number. For number 19, no groupings, no exponents, multiplication, division. Division is first in line. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Negative 9. Multiplication still. 2 times negative 9 would be negative 18. Plus 6. Negative 6. And then they have the same sign, so simply add them together and keep the sign of the number. Okay, I want you to pause. Go ahead, do 20 and 21. Grouping, exponent, multiply, divide, add, subtract. I have a grouping. Most people were messing up this step right here. So I have negative 5 plus 10, which is really positive 5, times 4 plus 61. Then I have to multiply. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 61. So you get 21, or 61 plus 20 is 81. Okay, same thing. Grouping, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. Grouping first, so 48 minus 12 would be 36. No more groupings, no exponents to worry about. I have division. 36 divided by negative 6 would be another negative 6, because a positive divided by a negative is a negative. And then they have the same signs, so simply add them together. You get negative 22. Please see your teacher if you're struggling with integers or you just need to review order of operations a little bit more.